What is up, everybody? Jay Costa here. Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, I wanted to go over the top 5 lessons that I've learned while concealed carrying every day in a blue state like this one for the past 3 years. Now, ever since that beautiful Bruen decision in 2022 that forced anti-freedom states like mine, New Jersey, to finally give out permits to carry a handgun, there has been a massive rush by many, me included, to go get one. And as of this video, March of 2026, there are currently almost 100,000 permit to carry holders here in our state. Now, before Bruen, there were only 1,600, and all of those, I promise you, were heavily connected people, politicians, and judges. Rules for thee, as they say. But even though we have seen a massive jump in permit to carry holders, which is awesome, there are still a lot of misconceptions out there. So hopefully the things and lessons that I have learned concealed carrying every day here will help clear some of these up for you. But first, before I get into it, do me a favor, click that like button and also consider subscribing. It truly helps me grow this channel. Follow me on Instagram as well, at JCostaUSA, which is the best way to reach out to me. And also, if you have not checked out my new podcast, the Behind Enemy Lines show, where we talk about everything Second Amendment and just freedom-loving related issues here in New Jersey, definitely check it out. Click that link in the description box down below. Available here on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you get your podcasts. Now, let's just jump right back into the video. Lesson number 1 that I learned concealed carrying every day in a blue state like New Jersey is getting your permit to carry is not that bad anymore. So many people in the comment section here on YouTube keep commenting that it's too much of a pain to apply for a permit to carry, or maybe you refuse to pay for something that you deem should be free. I know. Any infringement is an infringement. I get it. But I have a question for you. Would you rather deal with these infringements and still exercise a constitutionally protected right, or not exercise it at all? The truth is that after a rocky start, remember when the permit to carries were going through all of the county courts, that was a total crap show. But since then, they've made adjustments. It's all through the town, or mostly through the town and the state police, and it's pretty streamlined, all online, and it works somewhat effectively now, and depending on what town you live in, you could be carrying legally within 30 days. Plus, if you're in a town that gives you a hard time, it gives you an excuse to sue their ass. Lesson number 2 is that the sensitive locations are also not that bad. Once again, do not jump down my throat on this. I am not defending these BS sensitive locations at all in any way. As of March 2026, we cannot legally carry here in New Jersey in schools, daycare centers, government buildings, courthouses, hospitals, nursing homes, public parks, playgrounds, beaches, museums, restaurants with alcohol, and sometimes even private property. But even with all of those restricted spaces, those areas, I still find myself being able to carry every day of my life. Now, I work in real estate, so I don't have like a particular building that I may need to go to every single day that could be a sensitive location to really worry about. Everyone's situation is different as always, you know, that's life, right? But just know that I personally conceal carry every day without much issue at all. So do not let this dissuade you thinking, you know, what's the point if you just can't carry legally anywhere anyway? It's just not true. Another reason for optimism is the current legal cases that are going on right now. Number 1 of which is Coons and Siegel versus Platkin, which challenges New Jersey's sensitive locations in the so-called carry killer bill. Now, I made a video on this in the past and also discussed it with Second Amendment writer and expert John Petrolino recently on the aforementioned podcast, which I will link to right now in the corner and in the description box. Now, as of now, we are awaiting a decision after an en banc rehearing, and things, from what I can see, are looking very, very good for us. Lesson number 3 is appendix carry is the way. It's not the only way, but it's the way. So if you are new to concealed carry and afraid to carry in the appendix position, just believe me, don't be. I understand being nervous. I'm not trying to judge you. I understand you have a loaded weapon that's pointed right to a main artery of your body, among other things. But with a quality Kydex holster, there is absolutely nothing to worry about. Now, there are some inherent risks. There's inherent risk in carrying a firearm at all, but the pros so far outweigh the cons that, to me, it's silly to not carry appendix unless there's a specific reason you can't, like maybe you got, you know, a beer belly, a wardrobe, or attire that you have to wear every day, like a suit, something like that. Now, carrying appendix is the most concealable option because it's less likely that clothing gets caught on it. less likely that it's going to get caught on the grip of the firearm. And if it does, it's right in front of you, so you're going to notice. Now, also, since it's right in front of you as well, you have almost total control over your firearm. If anyone tries to grab it in an altercation, you can easily fend them off with your hands and arms. And since your arms are right in front of you, you can draw much quicker here in Appendix than any other position. Now, this is not to trash on other positions to carry. Carry what works for you, your lifestyle, your attire, your job, and your comfort. Lesson number 4 that I've learned: you should carry what is comfortable. Now, this may stir the pot a little bit, but instead of stuffing a big Glock 34 in your pants because you need every advantage and as much of a grip purchase on the firearm if something were to happen in a bad situation, carry something smaller. I carry this. It's a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus, Glock 43X, the P365 series. They're all good. They're all small. They're all very capable, and they can outshoot almost all of us. Now, don't get me wrong, carrying a gun will never be comfortable, but if it's so uncomfortable that it really bothers you, guess what? You're just not gonna carry, and you're gonna carry less. I'd rather see more people carrying smaller guns than leaving their guns at home, because it's just not worth it to have that barrel sticking into your groin for 20 minutes when you're just going to the nearest Wawa. This is especially true in states like New Jersey, where first, many carrying are still new to carrying a firearm, me included. 3 years is not that long. Not many guys here in New Jersey that started carrying in 1911 right after the Vietnam War. Also, we unfortunately and unconstitutionally have magazine restrictions for now. So one of the biggest benefits to carrying a larger gun just simply doesn't exist here. Lesson number 5 is carry an extra magazine sometimes. Now, I carried without this, an extra magazine, this is a magazine pouch, until fairly recently. I would just carry this and that's it. And I'm actually quite sorry that I did for so long. Not because you always have to carry an extra mag. You do not. Carry setup should always depend on your situation. As I mentioned before, what you're wearing, where you're going, who you're even with. Now, there are still times that I only grab my firearm in its holster without that extra magazine pouch. Maybe if I'm alone and it's for a very, very quick trip. But anything more than that, if a lot of people are going to be around me, and especially if I'm with my family, I am bringing that extra magazine. Because simply put, 10 rounds is not enough. And even if it were enough, your one magazine could fail. Probably not by actual failure, although that's possible. More likely, you're going to be inadvertently hitting that magazine release and you're going to be dropping on the floor, and now you're left with no magazine. A great tip that I could give you would be, instead of getting like one of those sidecar style holsters with an attached magazine pouch, get a separate one like this one, and then you have the option like I mentioned. This one's made by Tenacor, but there's plenty out there. Get something quality and that'll last a long time. Now, this is what I personally learned in almost 3 years of carrying daily. It doesn't mean it's the only way, but it's what works for me. I think carrying concealed is a delicate balance between safety, convenience, and just readiness, preparedness. And each of us is going to have a different line to balance those 3 things. But the most important thing is that you actually carry, and carry safely. Do not let the laws dissuade you. Do not let the cost dissuade you, and do not let the inconvenience dissuade you. And maybe even most importantly, do not let the FUDs and all the people that judge out there in the Second Amendment community dissuade you as well. I try not to be that as much as possible. I find it's a fairly common thing in a lot of different communities. Carry what works for you, what's comfortable, and what's going to allow you to carry safely every day. If you want to carry with a manual safety, you go do it. If you want to carry at the 4 o'clock position instead of Appendix, you go do it. If you want to carry a small gun, even though your hand is like gripping the entire thing where your finger's near the barrel, you go do it. As long as you're carrying safely, you are way ahead of the game and way, way more prepared than almost everyone else out there, especially here. You have a natural right to self-defense that many politicians and non-politicians alike are constantly trying to take away. Use it. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in that comment section down below what you're carrying every day, what you've learned carrying since the Bruen decision, or maybe if you're not from, a blue state, you've been carrying for a long time. What have you learned in those many years of carrying daily? This is what I've learned. Let me know what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? I appreciate it so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Keep fighting. God bless.